All right, let's get right into it. If you're a parent raising a child with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, or FASD, you know there's often this whole other battle going on, and that's trying to explain it to your own parents. It's a conversation that's supposed to be full of love, but man, it can be so full of frustration. So in this explainer, we're going to look at why that gap exists and, more importantly, how to start building a bridge to close it. Does this one sound painfully familiar? It's one of the top hits, for sure. On the surface, it just sounds like an observation, but what's really being said, what it feels like, is that these diagnoses are just newfangled excuses, that this is some made-up problem. And for a parent who is living this complex reality every single day, that can be just incredibly dismissive. It stings.
And then there's this little gem, the classic tough love approach. This comment just assumes your child's behavior is a choice, right? That they're just deciding to be difficult and you, the parent, are simply too soft. That if you just lay down the law, everything would be fine. But for a child with FASD, it has nothing to do with being defiant. It's about a fundamental difference in the way their brain actually works.
So you see it? These phrases, they're not just annoying. They create this painful disconnect. They show just how deep the generational divide in understanding really is. And listen, this isn't about blaming anyone or saying one generation is right and the other is wrong. It's just a gap. A huge gap in information and perspective that can leave a parent feeling totally judged and completely alone. And right here, this is the absolute heart of the misunderstanding. For a grandparent, all the special strategies and accommodations you're using might just look like some trendy, new age parenting style. But the reality, it couldn't be more different. This is not about a philosophy. It is about responding to a real physical condition, a brain-based disability. So let's get super clear about what brain-based actually means, because honestly, getting this one concept is the key that unlocks everything. It's what shifts the entire conversation away from discipline and judgment and towards support and empathy. Think of it like this, FASD is a physical injury to the brain, just like you'd think of a heart condition or diabetes. Alcohol exposure physically changed the brain's structure, its wiring. So the behaviors we see, that impulsivity, the struggles with learning, the huge emotional reactions, those aren't choices. They're symptoms of the disability. You simply can't discipline away a difference in brain wiring. It's impossible. So, okay, getting that reality is step one. But how do you actually help a grandparent walk across that bridge from misunderstanding to genuine support? Well, the good news is, it's not about winning a fight. It's about opening a conversation. And there are a few really practical steps you can take. It's not some magic formula. It's pretty simple, really. First, just share information. Give them articles, maybe even share an explainer, like this one. Sometimes hearing it from a neutral third party helps it land differently. Second, invite them into your world. Ask them to tag along to a therapy session or a doctor's appointment so they can hear it from an expert. And third, maybe the most important one, make it safe for them to ask questions, even the questions that feel basic or kind of hurtful. A question is an attempt to learn. It's an open door, because that's the whole point here. The goal isn't to prove that you're right and they're wrong. Not at all. The goal is to invite them to see your child and your life through a totally new lens. It's about swapping that friction for collaboration. It's about welcoming them onto your team. This is an invitation, not a fight. And when that invitation is accepted, when a grandparent really starts to wrap their head around the brain-based reality of FASD, my goodness, the entire dynamic of a family can transform. The impact is it's huge. Just take a second and imagine that moment, that click, that shift from skepticism to real understanding. The moment the light bulb goes on, and they finally see their grandchild not as a behavioral problem, but as a kid who is trying their absolute hardest with the brain they have. I mean it. Everything. The critical comments, they stop. The unsolicited advice, gone. And what replaces it? A hug. An offer to help that's actually helpful. You get an ally who defends you to other relatives. You get another adult in your child's life who loves them for who they are and gets what they need. The weight that lifts is just immense. And this is the ultimate goal. The very people who might have been a source of so much stress and frustration can become your most powerful resource. They love your child like crazy, and they want your family to be happy. Once you channel all that love through real understanding, they become this incredible force for good. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. What would it actually look like in your house? What pressures would disappear? What new kinds of joy and support could open up? Building that bridge takes patience, yeah, and it takes courage. But as we've seen, transforming a critic into an ally, well, that can change everything.